Wiggity wiggity, welcome back, dudes, lady dudes. Happy Halloween. Happy scary day. I don't know what else you'd call it, it's just Halloween. Happy that to you. And today I'm doing a little kind of Halloween video, just kind of like a zombie deck build guide, kind of overview of the whole archetype and everything. Because it is a strange archetype, because zombies are one of those archetypes that are so small, or just types in general, not even archetype. It's just a type that's so small and it doesn't have, it only has so few like cards in it that like zombies are just an archetype. They've formed like a big archetype instead of just being a type that has a bunch of smaller archetypes. And there are some smaller ones here and there, but overall it's almost like zombies are just one big archetype altogether. It's kind of like plants. Plants and zombies, I think, are like the two that are like the most like that. But obviously, I'm not talking about plants today. Well, there is one plant. We'll see that later. But yeah, I just want to go through an overview of like all the most relevant zombie cards and what they do. And if you're looking to build a zombie deck, there is a lot of support coming up in the near future. So look forward to that, especially with the Zombie Horde structure deck coming out in just 2 days on Friday. So look forward to that. It's a really nice structure deck overall. I have a review of it on my channel, but I'll leave that to you there. So let's start off with the like staple monsters you absolutely will have to play if you play zombies. And I feel like there's only 3, honestly, because there's a lot of different like ways you can go down to play zombies. And so you can either play, if you play zombies regardless, you're playing Uni Zombie, you're probably playing Mizuki, and you're probably playing Shiranui Solitaire. They're pretty basic cards in terms of what they do. I don't really need to explain much. Uni Zombie's like your best play starter for like pretty much most of all zombie decks you'll play. It literally says you can send a zombie from your deck straight to the grave to increase its level by 1, and you can also send a zombie from your hand to the grave to increase its level by 1. If you don't know, if you didn't already know this, zombies use the grave a lot. And you'll see right here, like one of the main monsters you always want to send is Mizuki. Mizuki says you can banish him from your grave to target a different zombie that's in your grave and special summon it. So just like if that makes sense with Uni you would send a Mizuki from your hand or graveyard to or hand or deck to the graveyard, and then you'd send another monster that you wanted to special summon back with Mizuki, right? So pretty easy there, like nice easy combos. And as well as Uni is a tuner, so definitely a lot of synchro plays that Uni Zombie opens up. So it's literally like your best starter card. Mizuki's like your best extender pretty much, and Shiranui Solitaire is like a great consistency piece. It says tribute summon one zombie monster. You're almost always tributing itself because there's no reason to keep it on the field. It's a 500-0 monster. To special summon one zombie tuner with 0 defense from your deck. So literally this is a consistency. It's like Merlin in Noble Knights. You literally just normal summon that and then tribute it for Uni, because Uni has 0 defense. So it's a consistency piece, and just getting you your best starter card in as many opening hands as you can. Its second effect is not really that relevant. Yeah, it's not really. Second effect is not really relevant if you're playing like a hardcore Shiranui deck. And then something I want to touch on, it's like not super relevant, but as far as the ghost girls go, the hand traps, if you're not too up to date on competitive play, I would learn about hand traps. They're one of the most important pieces of competitive play at the moment, and have been for the last couple years. Ash, Ghost Bell, and Ghost Reaper are all zombies and are all tuners, which can be relevant. It's not too important that they're zombies. There's like very few niche plays where you can like return a zombie from graveyard to hand or banishment to hand, so that can be relevant. But I just want to touch on that. They are zombies, so that's kind of cool that like they never actually work with the archetype specifically, but in this case they do. There, and then as far as kind of like the less good zombie cards, I want to say, because like these 3 are like the staples. They're going to be in almost any zombie variant you play. And then these are kind of like cards you can play, but you don't have to. It's going to be up to personal preference whether you want to play them or not. A lot of people do not play them because they are kind of suboptimal. They're just not as powerful as some other cards are. But let's start here with Gozuki. Obviously he pairs with like Mezuki. They're very similar. in their effects. Gozuki says during your main phase, you can send any zombie from your deck to the grave. Then if this card is sent to the grave, you can banish a zombie from grave except for himself. So it has to be a different one to special summon a zombie from your hand. The special summon from hand effect does not come up that often. But most of the time, like this is like it's like a poor man's Uni zombie. Really, it's like you would normal him and then you would just send a Mizuki. But at least with Uni, you could send a Mizuki and something else, and then you have the extender all ready to go, done, Dunyan rings, you know. But this card only does one of the two pieces, so it's just kind of a poor man's Uni. But some people do play it for consistency, like I said. Like, you might not see Uni in your opening hand, but if you play Gozuki, it's just increasing the chance of seeing a starter, even if it's not your best starter. It is a starter nonetheless. Another extender card is Plague Spreader Zombie. This is a level 2 tuner zombie, and pretty much all he does is place one card from your hand back on the top of your deck and then special summon him, and he will be banished if he leaves the field. So that's pretty much it. He just gets himself back from grave, and he's a level 2 tuner to help you make synchro plays or to link into Vampire Sucker or something else. Another kind of mediocre card that used to be better was Samurai Skull. When it's normal summon, send a zombie from deck to grave. You can see a pattern here. A lot of these cards just put your zombies in grave, and then if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower zombie from your deck. Decent effect, but it is destruction, and it is by card effect, so it's kind of specific, and he's not even that big, so your opponent would probably be able to out him with other means, and would do so should they have just read the card. So kind of just another underwhelming card. Like, it's like poor man's Uni. And then this card's probably like the best card out of the bunch here, personally. I think in the right deck, as long as you built a deck that can use him efficiently. So pretty much Zombie Master says once per turn you can send a monster from your hand to the graveyard to target a level 4 or lower zombie in either player's graveyard and summon that. So this is kind of the reason this is relevant is because a build that's going to kind of jump in popularity is going to be a Zombie World build. If you don't know, Zombie World's a field spell, and all it does is it turns all monsters on either player's field and in either player's graveyard into zombies. So this card can revive monsters from your opponent's graveyard as long as they're level 4 or lower, as long as you have Zombie World on the field. But even if you don't, you still can just revive yours back from your grave as well. So I think it's a decent extender. The problem is it doesn't summon itself, so you do have... none of like the zombies summon themselves from hand, which is like the problem. I feel like one of the biggest buffs zombie could get is like a reliable, like searchable zombie, like level 4 zombie that can special summon itself from hand. That would be like, I feel like one of the best support cards they could get, like low key. But still, Zombie Master is still a powerful card, and just getting you a quick rank 4, a rank, or a quick link 2, whatever it is. So. Then we move into some new cards that are coming out in Zombie Horde in 2 days, and that are actually pretty powerful, and I think they definitely make for probably the best zombie variant you can play right now, and especially with new support coming as well. They all kind of combine to that. But at least for now, I'm just going to go over the Zombie Horde stuff and not the stuff that's outside of Zombie Horde but still not out yet. I'm going to leave that stuff for a separate video, but at least for this video, like I'm talking about Glow Up Bloom here. This is a variant of Glow Up Bulb, and it says when it's sent to graveyard, you can banish it to then add a level 5 or higher zombie to your hand, but if you had Zombie World on the field, you could special summon a level 5 or higher zombie instead, and we'll see the perfect target for that in just a sec. Then another card is Otherworldly Banshee, I believe, but I think the English translation is going to be a little different than that as far as like the official name. But she's an 1800 beater, and she says you can quick effect banish her from the field or graveyard to activate Zombie World straight from your deck. So that's pretty cool, especially since it's a quick effect because of the monster that's right next after her, which is this guy, Drashul the Spirit King, and I think his name changes as well. But he's pretty intense looking, but he's actually a pretty good card. So his first like main effect says like during either player's standby phase, if there is a field spell on the field at all, you or your opponent, it doesn't matter what field spell, you can just special summon him from the graveyard every turn, just every standby. If he's in there and you can just pull him out. Then he has an effect that says if a zombie monster's effect is activated, I think it's once per turn as well, That would be fair. I feel like it'd be unfair if it wasn't. You can either destroy one face-up card your opponent controls or negate a monster's effect that your opponent controls. It's one of those two. Basically, you want to combo that off with Otherworldly Banshee, because she has a quick effect on the field or in the graveyard to banish herself, and that counts as activating. So on your opponent's turn, if you have him on the field, you can quick effect banish her to pop something or negate something, and it is a nice little disruption there. And he's big. He's 2,800, and he comes back every turn, so he can be very annoying for certain decks that have trouble dealing with big monsters like this. So he's really cool. He's probably like the focal point of like the new best variant of the deck. I mean, I say best with bated breath, but I think it probably is. At least it looks like the most exciting for right now, just because it's new. And then, so for some stuff that like you don't have to run, but you totally can if you want to, if that's the kind of variant you want to go with, Shiranui. Shiranui is a solid option if you're trying to do these cards. They're pretty interesting. Spectral Sword just says like you can use, it's a tuner, but you can also synchro summon from grave. So you can like banish this and another zombie in your graveyard to like synchro summon from grave, which is another really cool effect, because you could literally just synchro summon and in grave next turn. You can't do it the turn it's sent to grave, but next turn you could synchro summon again, which is pretty cool, getting good value out of one tuner. But it definitely can be bricky, because it didn't get itself out of the hand or anything, so it definitely can be bricky. This new card is like another version of Spectral Sword. It's Spectral Sword of Sunset, I believe. And so pretty much you special summon 2 banished zombies by tributing this card, I think. And this card's okay. It just like takes so much setup. Like some of the problems with zombies is that like it's too hard to get. Sometimes it can just be hard to get enough stuff in the graveyard to start getting like the value from those graveyard cards like Mizuki and whatnot. But not only that, but you have to have multiples banished for this card to be useful. So like not only is the first step hard, but like it's doubly hard to get that many things banished. So this card is just kind of hard to set up. But when you do set it up and you get it off, it definitely can be very powerful. But that's about it. And Shiranui Spirit Master, when it's banished, you can destroy one face-up card your opponent controls. So that's pretty cool. That's mainly what he does. And also when he's normal summon, you can special summon a Shiranui from hand or graveyard. So a decent card in the deck. And then this new card as well. When it's normal summon, you can special summon a Shiranui from deck, but you can't summon zombies for the rest of or you can only summon zombies for the rest of the turn. So that's a decent little starter. I mean, your play could just be normal summon to special summon and synchro into a 6, and then at least you got a big beat stick on board, and you have probably materials engraved to synchro again next turn. Should be kind of cool. But yeah, that's up to you whether or not you want to go the Shiranui route. Under the same vein, there's vampires as well, which is a sort of new like archetype that came into prominence. There were older, less solid vampire cards from a while ago, like a structure decks from long ago, and they got a new buff in Dark Saviors, where they got a bunch of new cards. All 3 of these were featured in that. They're pretty much probably 3 of the best new cards they have, and yeah, they're just kind of, they deal with like normal summoning, and you pay a lot of life points to summon a bunch of beat sticks, and you can steal your opponent's monsters. There's a whole bunch of stuff going into them. I don't personally like this variant the most. I like the new variant. I like the new variant with Glow Up Bloom and the big Spirit King guy the most personally. But if you wanted to, you could put this stuff into there if you wanted to run that kind of variant as well. Those are whole separate videos though. I could go through all the Shiranui stuff, I could go through the vampire stuff, but those are just separate videos. Like I said, I'm trying to stay just kind of generic zombies for this one. And then we have Zombie World. This is the field spell I said earlier. Pretty much all it says is all monsters on the field and in the graveyards become zombie, and neither player can tribute summon except zombie monsters. It's not a big deal. Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't really tribute anymore, so it doesn't really matter. A really good generic support card is Book of Life. This says target one zombie's monster in your graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon the first target and banish the second target. So this is a decent Monster Reborn card. I don't think it's as good as Monster Reborn because you can draw Monster Reborn going first and it can be usable. But Book of Life is not always usable because If you're going first and your opponent doesn't use a hand trap on you, then they're not going to have any monsters in grave, which means you can't resolve this card. You can't even activate it. So, because you have to pay the cost of banishing an opponent's or targeting an opponent's monster in grave. But it definitely, if you're in like turn 2 or later, this card definitely has value because you just, not only that, but like the graveyard is so integral in the game just currently now that like just banishing stuff could be actually pretty valuable. Like if you're playing a Trickstar player and they only have one Trickstar in grave that they need to use like their reincarnation for, and you just bait out the reincarnation earlier than when they would have liked to, or any deck like I don't know. I mean, you could say there's always grave interactions. You could use this on a Ray in grave against Sky Strikers, and then Ray's not coming back if you out the their Sky Striker links. So this card has like some value in against almost every deck, but it's just not always turn 1 going first. So keep that in mind as you play this card. Then this new card, Zombie Necronize. This card pretty much says if you control a level 5 or higher zombie, you can just take control of an opponent's monster to the end of the turn. Nice. A little change of heart. All you have to do is have your Spirit King on the board. Because there's such a powerful card in the archetype as this, it kind of makes me want to play that deck, because this card could be like such a strong card. And just steal something. Good against Thunder Dragons, good against pretty much a lot of decks, because monsters just don't have immunization to being stolen like that. So that's pretty good. And it also has an effect where I think it says you can banish a zombie in grave to set this card back to your field. I think that's what it does. I know it can set itself back, but I think it's by banishing one zombie in your grave, which is not that big of a cost. And you also might have cards that want to be banished anyway. So that's pretty good. Nice little steal card. The only real like zombie trap card that's like solid in any respect, I feel like, at least generic zombies, not just what's the word? Blah, blah, blah. Vampires. I know vampires have a couple of solid trap cards at their disposal, but pretty much what you do is you tribute a zombie, then target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. So it's like Icarus attack, but for zombies specifically. And then it says banish 1 Shiranui from your decks. If you played like the Spirit Master, you could banish that to pop a card on your opponent's field. So you could pop 3 instead of just 1. But yeah, it's a pretty cool card. I think it's just Icarus attack. So not bad at all. And then as far as extra deck monsters go, we have Vampire Sucker. She's just like a good generic link 2 that opens up 2 zones, takes any 2 zombies, and oh, and she kind of like, she does weird things. Ugh. Really. Vampire Sucker is so weird in this deck. She, like, I guess with the zombie world, it gives her more potential. I just read her over and I was like, oh, I guess she does have like weirdly good support with zombie world. But like, it says you contribute your opponent's zombie monsters for like a tribute summon, which I guess works with the Spirit King, but you still have to tribute 2, and that's kind of rough. He's probably not going to be your normal summon most turns, but I guess he could come up. She lets you draw a card if a zombie is specialed from graveyard, so that's pretty cool. She's mostly just there for the 2 zones. Then we have Shogun Saga. She's like the main like zombie synchro that you would ever use, because it takes any zombie tuner and a non-zombie tuner. So if you use an Uni at level 4 to synchro with any other level 4, you could get this and then banish a zombie from your grave, and this card gains attack equal to that banished monster attack. So 3,000 plus, another 13 to 1,800 somewhere in there, which is pretty good until the end of the turn. And then if this card is destroyed, target one of the banished zombies with 0 defense and return it to the graveyard. So it probably just return whatever you banished in the first place. So this thing just gets really big, and it's just kind of, it's an alright card. It's just kind of, it covers your bases. It's like your synchro version for zombies as Utopia the Lightning, just a big beat stick for one big attack. And then we have this new guy. This guy is not very good at all, honestly. He gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie in the grave, and what does its second effect do? Oh man, but I know it's not good. It's like, it has something to do with like when he's destroyed by card effect or battle, so, and I don't even think it's like that good of a float effect, so He's just kind of a beat stick that has a mediocre float effect, so super mediocre. But as far as the zombie extra deck goes, you could make a lot of level 8 synchro plays. So I would think like Scarlight's a decent placement in the extra deck. Like Beals, if you want to play that. There are other good level 8s too. So any good level 8, and then you want to play like low links, like probably low links, because you don't spam the board that much. You just try and spam like big problematic monsters for your opponent. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for like all the like generic zombie stuff. Overall, I think it's a really cool archetype, and I like what it is, that they have like some like just solid like generic cards for the entire thing, like these three. Like these three are just like generically great cards, and you play them in like every single like zombie variant pretty much. And that's really cool that they have strong cards like that. And plans are the same, like I mentioned at the beginning. But I don't know. Let me know if you want me to do more of these types of videos about, different types of archetypes and whatnot. I know I know the Lightsworn one was so long because that one encompasses a lot of different cards that just have value engraved. And this one is kind of the same because we did an entire type and not just an actual archetype. So if we did an archetype, it would be shorter. But let me know if you want me to do more of these like just type videos where I just go through an entire archetype and list off the important cards, what they do, and whether or not they're kind of worth playing. There, guys. But if you like this video, subscribe for more, because I'm on the Yu-Gi-Oh grind and I want to make this a thing. So don't be afraid to help a brother out. Other than that, guys, have a great rest of your Halloween. Enjoy the candies. Baby Ruth is my favorite candy. Just is what it is. Peace out.